Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Giving God all the glory. Welcome to the 5 Minute Facebook Ministry. My name is Anthony Daniels. Today we're coming out of the book of Luke, the 5th chapter and the 22nd verse. Luke 5 and 22. And it reads out of the King James Version. But when Jesus perceived their thoughts, he answering said unto them, What reason ye in your hearts? Again, but when Jesus perceived their thoughts, he answering said unto them, What reason ye in your hearts? Now again, this is Jesus, and he's asking the Pharisees and the Sadducees this question. Basically, the scribes and the Pharisees who had seen him tell the young man who was lowered through the roof that his sins were forgiven. And they were questioning who can forgive sins but God alone. And when Jesus says to him, when he perceived their thoughts, and he says, What reason ye in your hearts? What reason ye in your hearts? Now, Jesus didn't ask them, What are you thinking? How do you feel? He was asking, What reason you in your hearts? And the reason he asked that question is because our hearts reveals the truth about us. Our heart reveals who we are. The Bible says what is in a man's heart is what comes out of him. And see, Jesus knew that. Jesus knew that. That's why he asked these men, What reason ye in your hearts? What is going on in your heart when you see me forgive someone's sins? Now, he's also asking us that same question today. What reason ye in your hearts? So in our hearts, what are we thinking about? Who are we following? Who are we chasing with our hearts? Is it someone on this earth? A spouse, a child, a parent? Or is it God? A car, a job, money? Or is it God? So whatever our heart's desire is, that's what we put first in our lives. That's what we dedicate the most time to. So are you dedicating more time to something else other than God? And we've gotten in a comfortable position in today's world where, God is he's something on the side. We don't have to spend a whole lot of time with him. We just need to come to him every now and then. When we need something. Or, every Sunday. But no, God is a God that we need to visit constantly. Because he's constantly with us. We need to stay with him. We need to realize that. And we need to make sure our hearts desire God and our hearts allow him to fill up our hearts with his love. Because then when we come against situations, when we're in bad spots, our hearts will call out to God. And see, God will never let us down. A lot of people's hearts are called, they call out to their husbands, their wives, boyfriends, girlfriends, uncles, aunts, and they get disappointed because these people can't come through for them. But see, God is your answer. God is your answer. He may not work as fast as you want him to work, but he's working fast enough. Because his speed is the ultimate speed. And just because it's slower than what you want it to be, doesn't mean it's wrong. It just means that it's right for you at that moment in time in your life. And God is taking his time with you. So let's get our hearts right with God. Doesn't matter what we think. Doesn't matter how we think. What matters is what we feel in our heart. What we're putting in our hearts. And when our hearts are full of love and devotion for God, so everything else is going to fall in place. You're going to love your wife like God told you to love her. Women are going to submit to their husband like God told them to submit. Children will obey their parents like God told them to obey. And families are going to work together because they're working under the divine guidance of God. Churches are going to flourish because they're preaching God's word and putting it out because it's coming from the heart. What's in your heart tells who you are. And although I may not be able to see it, and nobody else on this earth will be able to see what's in your heart, God knows what's in your heart. God knows what's in your heart. So make sure what He sees is something that's going to be pleasing to Him. And that's all the time I have. Hey, God bless you. God love you. And I love you too. Have a great day.